Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS. If you're new, welcome and welcome back, KS family. Our community's mission is to bring more kindness, integrity and skill into the crypto space. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently up 0.33% to 38,540. Ethereum up 2.25% to 2761. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. If you're going through a life pullback at the moment, please know that our community's love and healing thoughts are with you. You're not alone. The sun will always come out again, and there's always hope. Rule 138, all investors become traders every time they buy or sell. It's really interesting to note that a lot of people think investing and trading is a different thing. It's actually not. All investors buy and sell. All traders buy and sell. It's a question of the knowledge that goes along with it. I'd like to thank Daniel for his very insightful comment. He says, I learned the hard way that any lack of understanding gets magnified as mistakes get exponentially punished in this market. It's all about what he found was moving from confusion and reactivity towards clarity and acceptance is really, really important. Thank you, Daniel, for your very kind comment. Many investors and traders, when they enter the crypto market, they're not quite sure what it's all about. They've heard that crypto can be a very fantastic way to make money, but it's incredibly volatile. As a result, they typically enter the panic zone and the blame zone, zone 1 and zone 2 of KS zone analysis. And these are the 4 stages that all investors and traders progress through to become consistently profitable and attain real wealth. Zone 1 and Zone 2 are called the loss zones. This is where any mistake is exponentially magnified. Exactly what Daniel was referring to. In these 2 particular zones, people get caught up in a myth of certainty, and that certainty is really problematic. People will FOMO in because of fear of missing out, and due to fear, uncertainty, and doubt, they will typically sell when they should be buying. After a period of time and with more knowledge, people can move into the consistent profitability zone, which is zone 3. That's all about probability and rules, and especially patience. Patience is a critical component in the crypto market, as it is in any market, but crypto is really, really important. Also, we have a thing called the 10-5-10 Volatility Fund. This is about making volatility our best friend. We look for volatility. In zones 1 and zones 2, volatility wrecks people's positions. In zone 3, it makes them. What we do is to look very broadly at the market. We understand that Bitcoin moves the crypto market, so we need to attain as much information as possible. What people typically do, what traders and investors new to the crypto market focus on, is their beloved alt, and they don't know the wider perspective. This is a recipe to absolutely lose money. It's also good to understand Rule 781. Crypto technical analysis is a skill and it's a philosophy. Being consistently profitable in Zone 3 is simply not enough. Many people can be consistently profitable, but if they don't have the right mental outlook, if they're not prepared for wealth, they will actually lose it. Self-sabotage is a very, very destructive thing. We overcome self-sabotage by focusing on Zone 4, which is the meaning zone. This is all about real wealth. You can literally think about these zones as Zone 1 and 2, how to lose money. Zone 3, how to make money. Zone 4, how to keep the money and actually enjoy your life. Rule 715, be aware of self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a really problematic thing in life, but especially in crypto. If you're being self-sabotaged, you will make losses. One way to get away from self-sabotage is through real wealth and maintaining a positive excellence life trend, focusing on integrity, decency, kindness, courage and honor, fearlessness, gratitude and happiness, inner and outer peace. These things are really important in order to fight self-sabotage. Crypto technical analysts understand the philosophy of money. They understand that there's a difference between riches and wealth. Riches come and go and are based on worthiness. Wealth can be added to, maintained intergenerationally by the right thinking. A person is worthy of money when they don't waste it, and they are worthy of power when they don't abuse it. It's a global phenomenon. When people suddenly come into money and they don't feel worthy of it, they burn it. Literally, it's like this. They set fire to the money. They try and get rid of it because deep down they're self-sabotaging. Feeling worthy of wealth is really important, and there's a very, very specific way to do that. And you can also think about a person who is promoted on the job, for example, to a higher position. If they abuse that power, they basically are saying, I am not worthy of this promotion. People who abuse their power will not retain that power. This is a thing that goes through the history of the world. Those that abuse power are stripped of that power, and those that abuse money are stripped of money. There are many examples of people that get sudden increases in financial abundance, and we call that riches. That is not wealth. Wealth is something completely different. When people become rich, they often just want to impress other people, and therefore they waste money. There's so many examples of this kind of behavior all around the world. Money is an energy. It's a life force into its own right. It doesn't stay with people who waste it. But wealth is something else. That's about bringing out your incredible uniqueness and applying it to the benefit of other people. A lot of people think that competition is part of life. Competition is not part of life. What life is really focused on is bringing out your unique talents and your unique skills. In the history of the world, there's only going to be one of you. The very precious gifts that you bring through your life are the way that you don't have to compete with anyone else. There is just pure abundance in this world and this universe. It's not about competing. Competing says, I want to get something the other person has. And contribution is, I want to give more. They're two completely different attitudes. This particular quote is really important. With responsibility, life promotes you. If you gain money, if you gain sudden riches, or you build wealth, there's a responsibility to that. If you gain power, there's a responsibility to that too. Life is the thing that promotes all of us. People are simply the messengers, but it's life that's doing the promotion. It also does the demotion, and that's why crypto technical analysts understand so much about the psychology of money and how it relates not only to price action, but how it relates actually to holding, maintaining, and growing wealth over time. If you would like to learn more about crypto technical analysis and especially the philosophies of money, you can go across to cryptotechnicalanalysis.org, www.cryptotechnicalanalysis.org, and have a look at the masterclass. We also have a number of CTKS ambassadors. Ambassadors have shown their dedication and commitment to crypto technical analysis in all its facets, especially the real wealth aspects of integrity, decency, and kindness. What these ambassadors actually do, they embody that particular focus on integrity, kindness, and decency. It's all about understanding that in life, your unique contribution is what actually carries you forward in life. The CryptoTradingKS Masterclass is a premium Rolls-Royce level masterclass on crypto technical analysis. It uses a specific method which updates candlestick pattern analysis and gets rid of all those annoying names and annoying patterns, and you can just understand where price is going. It's a fantastic update, and it's for crypto, as conventional stock market analysis and forex analysis don't apply in the crypto space, and they can lead people into making very, very wrong decisions. When you contact an ambassador, they can give you up to 80% off on this particular masterclass. And if you'd like to get a little bit of feedback as to what other people have thought of the masterclass, these are testimonials that have just been given just from the comments section on YouTube and a variety of other places. And I think it's always important to understand why things actually happen. In this video, I give you the concepts of why I actually created the masterclass. I think it's really good to look at. Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. This is a really critical rule, and a lot of people new to the crypto space do not understand this rule. That's why many times people will just be interested in looking at their beloved alt. That is zone 1 and zone 2 behavior. Actually focusing on those specific videos can cause you to lose money. And that's because there is always a deeper play in the crypto space. There's a lot of interconnections between traditional markets, news events, government policy, so many things that can actually whack the crypto market around. We have to be really, really aware of those things. There's also the capability that we need to draw support and resistance lines in. Support actually holds the price. Resistance creates a barrier for price to go higher. What we see currently, Bitcoin is trading at 38,467. It's just below this very, very strong, it's become a very strong resistance at 38,935. This 38,935 has been on this chart for quite a few weeks. What we've actually seen here, price rallied up, was rejected, gathered strength, rallied up again, was rejected, lost strength, rallied up again, and now it's trying to break through this particular level. We may get a downward momentum to 37,406, and these are just pure technical violations. When a lot of people get into technical analysis, especially using stock market and forex technical analysis, they see any break in the trend line as being a sign that things will collapse down. Like for example here, what we actually see, crypto doesn't obey stock market and forex rules. That's why I actually updated all of candlestick pattern analysis and created a completely new method to actually draw support and resistance levels in that's shared inside the masterclass, because it's really important. Crypto is an exponential asset class. It can move around by plus and minus 30% just in the breeze. Now, something good to note here, this blue line is the NASDAQ 100. And we can see over the weekend, we don't get any action. That's what these particular lines are. And when it sparks back into life, we can see that there's a directional correlation playing out here. But sometimes it goes out of correlation. I call it the indicator effect. If you've ever been at a traffic light in a car and there's a car in front of you or a bike or whatever, and it's got its indicator on to turn the same direction as you're going, you will see your indicators phasing in and phasing out of synchronicity. And this is what happens inside all financial markets as well. So at the moment, the NASDAQ and Bitcoin are moving relatively in the same direction, but that's no guarantee that they'll continue to do so. So what way do we feel Bitcoin is going? What does the probability tell us? We don't actually have enough probabilities to say with any level of conviction right now. We can see from a purely technical angle that we're getting levels of support, but it's also a strong resistance line. It could go either way. The probability is that it will actually break through 38,935 and go higher. Why do we say that? Because it's been coming up for quite a period of time and it's amassing strength. Basically, the sellers are running out of steam, but there's nothing stopping it to go down to 37,406, and we need to be aware of these things. That's why, as a community, we always make in advance probabilistic choices. What do we do if whatever we're looking at goes down, up, or sideways? You have three strategies playing out simultaneously. This is what people do, professionals do in zone 3 and 4. In zone 1 and 2, they have a single strategy. It's either going up or it's going down. Basically, they're the two. So how do we stack probabilities? We actually need to look more broadly, and that's what we'll do now. What I'm taking you through is what Zone 3 and Zone 4 behavior looks like. Zone 1 and Zone 2, just look at your beloved alt and see what's happening. Zone 3 and Zone 4, look extensively and see what's actually happening on a macro and micro perspective. Your money is on the line. If you don't do this, it's pretty much akin to gambling, and you don't want to do that. There's so much stress in Zone 1 and Zone 2. Getting out of those zones is a really good idea for your health. The first thing we need to do is to look at the US market, because the US market absorbs around $56 out of every $100 spent in the stock market globally. So what do we see here? Masterclass students, you will get my live chart in TM6. When we look at the VIX index, I was mentioning that it spiked up. It was starting to come down. I expected it to collapse down, and that's exactly what it's done. And we always know that when fear leaves the market, prices improve, and that's absolutely what has happened. This would have caught many people off guard. Many people were expecting all the major indices to just collapse like some epic black swan. Markets don't do that. What happens is the price is always moving in a wave. Do we expect prices to go up now? I think there could be a slight retracement. When we see fear dropping out of the market, it typically wobbles around. I think we'll get some wobbling in here, but we just have to wait and see. Sometimes it's easier to predict what price will do at certain levels than other levels. So we can see the NASDAQ 100, it's really rallied, and that would have shaken a lot of people out of short positions. That's why we've had such a big leg up. Everybody was going short. If the shorts continue to be liquidated, this will just explode upwards. It depends on how many shorts are in the market. When we look at oil prices have been going up. Bond prices, they've reached a level of support and consolidating. Bond yields have reached a level of resistance and consolidating too. And we've seen gold come down really significantly, hit a technical support level and bounce. That's exactly why we look at support and resistance levels. When we understand support and resistance, it's really powerful because you're basically putting a floor and a ceiling on price. That's critical to do. What do we see here? The US dollar currency index, it's being sold off. Remember that we talked a couple of days ago about the likelihood of coming into some very steep resistance. Again, resistance, a ceiling, 97.545. It basically hit just a little bit below there. All the sellers were waiting there. They pushed the price down. Where did they push it down to? A support level. This is why it's so important to understand resistance and support. If you don't understand these things and you're investing for the long term, you will eventually buy and sell at the wrong times and cost yourself a fortune in the process. Let's have a look at Bitcoin compared to the precious metals. Masterclass students, you will receive my live chart in TR23. We can see gold has formed a level of support. It looks like gold is going to make its way up again, and I'm not looking at this dog leg here. I'm looking from here to here to here. There's fairly solid support going through there, and we also know there's upward support, and gold has bounced from a technical level. We need to see what happens next. That was quite a big sell-off. When gold goes up, it's generally on geopolitical tension. But of course, gold has other uses. But we've seen a lot of turmoil in the world recently. Russia, Ukraine, there's been a lot of anxiety as to what will happen in Europe. And gold has spiked up. This reduction in gold's price actually bodes well. It is basically saying geopolitical tensions are decreasing, and we can see silver decreasing. The inverse DXY gives us a bit of an understanding as to where these things can actually head. We also have to keep updated on C19 cases, and we can see that they're really going for it at the moment. Nearly 382 million cases. The daily new cases are starting to come down, which is great news. We're starting to get a bit of a spike up in the daily deaths. And when we look at yesterday's figures, there were actually 2.863 million cases just in the world, just yesterday. We look at C19 cases because we need to understand, is there going to be more government support, more money printing, more closures, more safety nets financially put out to the general community? And we can see when we look at the stringency index, the number or the percentage of school closures, workplace closures, travel bans, or more an index, we can see Germany has a lot of stringency. Canada, India, France. What is generally happening throughout the world is the countries realize they can't lock down their citizens anymore. They're just going to have to deal with things, and that could have its own impacts. Stringency relates to closures, and the transportation indexes can get very heavily hit when that occurs. When we look at the airlines index, this white line, we saw it nearly getting above a resistance level, but resistance is very strong and it was pushed down. It just needs to gather momentum. And we've seen all the transportation indexes go up. Why is that? Because the major indexes have gone up. When we see the NASDAQ actually raise in price, we expect all these transportation indexes to go with it as well. Masterclass students, you will get this live chart in TM3. There are a lot of discussions about inflation and Bitcoin and the markets as well. We can see the CPI, Consumer Price Index, has been going up substantially. And when we look at the 10-year break-even inflation rate and the 5-year, they've been coming down. But what do we notice? They're very much correlated to the NASDAQ and basically the major indexes in the US stock market. And we look at the US market because it is an absolute giant. It's disproportionately representing so much investment globally. So it is not surprising at all when the NASDAQ comes up, these inflation rates will come up because it's saying economic activity is restarting. Masterclass students, you will get this in TM4. When we look at the Chinese property market sentiment, and these 7 companies have net debt of in excess of $1 trillion, that's a lot of money. What we've seen is the stock market has been saying, for example with Evergrande, things have been bottoming out and slight improvements in price, but some of the other ones, for example Country Garden and this one, Vanke, which is the white one, are starting to come down, but they're just finding levels of technical support below them. I believe this is nothing more than natural price action. There have been, of course, some negative news stories about restructuring and a wide range of other things, but looking simply at the charts, I can see an amassing of technical support levels, and we would expect a bounce from this. Masterclass students, you will get my live chart in TM5. We look at Russian market sentiment for exactly the same reason. We want to see what the Russian stock market is doing. We can see a bit of a technical bounce here, and this is looking quite good. If there was geopolitical tension, gold would be spiking up. It's not, it's come down. And the Russian stock market would have been hit more. It's not, it's going up. So there looks to be an easing of tension. This is particularly important for Bitcoin. Masterclass students, you will receive this in LV8. So when we stack these probabilities together, it's looking much, much more favorable that we'll actually exceed this 38,935 mark. Now, why is that important? Why don't we just have a look at the beloved alts? Because we know that Bitcoin's gravity moves the crypto market, and the gravity is looking increasingly positive. Rule 28, opportunities reset daily. What a beautiful rule this is, and we can apply it to our own life. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Today is completely fresh. It's a chance to begin again. When we look across the crypto market, there's always opportunity. The reason for that is rule 4. Price moves in waves. Price is always moving in a wave up and down, then back up. And those waves are exponential waves. That means they're really, really big. They're like tsunamis when it comes to crypto. I've done something new for you today. I always listen to the community's feedback, and I'm here because I want you to be as successful as you can possibly be. What I've done is to combine different areas. For example, currency, exchange tokens, blockchain infrastructure, DeFi, gaming, financial services, and I have put those into particular analysis for you. I think it's really going to help you out. Please let me know in the comments if you like this new format. I think it's always really, really good to look at exchange tokens first. And this is the exchange token list from this particular area, just the major ones. Let's look at the top 8 exchange tokens. We've got BNB, Binance Coin, FTT, FTX token, Uniswap, CRV, Cake, Sushi, 1inch, and DYDX. What do we notice here above everything? We can see the blue line. What's that blue line, you say? Ken, what is that blue line there? That's everywhere. That is Bitcoin's directional price movement. That's what I call Bitcoin's fingerprint. Bitcoin puts its fingerprint all over your alt. What a naughty thing. Take your fingerprints off Bitcoin. But it does it. It can't help itself. And the alts move with it. Now, what is happening with Binance Coin? It is moving in lockstep with Bitcoin's directional gravitation. What do we see with FTT? This is quite interesting. We can see when Bitcoin's price action improves, FTT just takes off. But when Bitcoin comes down, it just collapses. Bear this in mind. This is really important. When you get oversized reactions to upward momentum, that also happens to the downside, such as these big spikes down. And how big is that spike down? It's actually pretty large, isn't it? That's a 36.94% drop in just 2 days. When new investors get into crypto and new traders, and we know all investors become traders anytime they buy or sell, when people are new, they would panic seeing such a big reduction. That would actually shake them out of their position. So what would happen next? We can see this 36.94% reduction in price followed by a large rally. What was that rally worth? Just making it a little bit easier to see, that rally from the bottom up to the top is nearly 60%. That is the reason that people can get actually locked in to peaks and bottoms. Buy at the top because they feel certainty. Sell at the bottom because they feel so much fear. This thing is going towards zero. When people reach zone 3 and they have a 10-5-10 volatility fund, they look forward to things like this. They're actually buying it because they understand when something comes down 36.94%, when it regains the previous level, it comes up 58.9%. The joy of mathematics. When we see Uni, it's following Bitcoin's directional bias. We can see the same thing in Curve Finance, CRV. Cake is also doing it, as well as Sushi. But look here, Sushi is a bit suppressed in terms of its price momentum. We would want a crypto to show strength, like for example Binance Coin. FTX, FTT can be a really, really good crypto to get in, but please be aware that you need to trade this or invest this very, very specifically, or it could leave you on the wrong side of the trade a lot of times. When we can have a look at 1 inch, 1 inch is looking more healthy than what poor old sushi is. Sushi's looking a little bit sad down here. 1 inch is matching gravitational pull with Bitcoin, as is DYDX. Now we'll look into this currency area. What we're basically looking at when we see these particular charts for this particular analysis, we want to see where the strength is. For example, this is Bitcoin, and we know Bitcoin's gravity is Bitcoin's price, so that is the gravity. What we also can see is Bitcoin is starting to get above a level of immediate resistance. This is really, really good. It's got a couple of ways to go, but it's starting to look excellent. And don't forget, if it goes, for example, up the wall, it comes down the stairs. But if it goes down the wall, it comes back up the stairs. Always keep that one in mind. Bitcoin Cash, we can see a little bit of weakness here in terms of Bitcoin Cash. It's not moving up with the same level of power that Bitcoin is. Looking at Monero kind of flat in relationship. And what do we see with Litecoin? Litecoin is showing some power. You want to go after things that show power. What about Dash? Dash is also looking quite good. Cosmos, a little bit all over the place at the moment, but it's moving with direction. But some of that directional bias is not quite easy to figure out. Sometimes you'll find the cryptos, about 1% of the cryptos will go out of alignment with Bitcoin's gravitational pull. But when they do, they always snap back at some stage. And we can see Chiliz. Chiliz is following the gravitational pull, as is Decred as well. Let's go across to blockchain infrastructure and have a look at what is cooking there. One thing to take note of, Cosmos was in another particular section, because what you'll find is different projects can relate to different classifications. You can have one project in many different buckets. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum just in alignment with Bitcoin's fingerprint, and we can see there's some power there too. Cardano, poor old Cardano is not doing too well. It's a bit suppressed at the moment, but we always know that things snap back to gravitational pull. Solana is doing really well. Look at it starting to take off. That's excellent. But what do we do if you want to go into Solana? Where do you buy? Do you buy at market? Do you get in because you think, oh no, I'm going to miss out. I just need to go all in and more. That kind of light switch effect impacts people in zone 1 and zone 2 because they want certainty, and certainty will create terror, stress, and sleepless nights. You don't want that. You want probability. So when we look at a particular crypto and we want to enter into it, we buy at support levels down. So what would that actually look like for Solana? We have a support level around that particular area, through here, definitely there. And we've got mild if you really wanted to go hard on it. The thing with crypto is always moving around, and it's an exponential asset class. It can whipsaw, as you saw with the last analysis on FTT. It can whipsaw down literally 40% in just a couple of days. This is exactly why we must make volatility our best friend. We buy at levels of support. Now, what happens to people in zone 1 and zone 2 is they say, Ken, I'm going to miss out. I have to get in. I have to be certain that I'm part of this. That is unfortunate, because when you are certainly part of it, if you're at market prices, never buy at market, please, anyone. If you're buying at market, it means that you're wasting money. Buying at market is never ever a good idea. It should just never be done. I know a lot of influencers do it, but I wish they wouldn't. It's just creating a mentality of loss. It's perfect zone 1, zone 2 behavior. We just wait in the market. And you might say, but I want to know now. It's all about that certainty. You don't worry about that. What you see is that in crypto, it's really, really volatile. It will go up and down all the time. Let's keep our eyes on these levels for Sol. Let's have a look at Matic. Matic is actually aligning with Bitcoin's gravity quite well. It's got a little bit of suppression here, but it's moving in the right direction. And we can see it's overcoming resistance levels too. We can see Atom again is out of wonk with Bitcoin's gravity, technical term, but the concept is it's a little bit weak. What does that actually mean? At some stage, this will come back into alignment with Bitcoin, and that can be a very interesting thing to observe. What about NIA? We can see NIA has gone out of alignment. It's moving directionally in the same way, but it's showing a lot more weakness. This is what I call a changing of the guards. We've had our eye on NIA for quite a few weeks, and I mentioned that this kind of thing is likely to occur, but it will level out and things will resume their course again. What do we see with DOT? A quality project. Look at it. It's starting to ramp up. It's getting through this level of resistance. That's really, really important. And it's forming a level of support. Let's just draw that in. That level of support will be around there, 1899. And there's another level of lower support around this 1754 mark. When we have a look at Luna, we can see Luna and Cosmos doing basically the same thing, just wobbling around. They have a very similar pattern, although there's a bit more weakness in Cosmos than there was in Luna. Looking at the next date in blockchain infrastructure, we can see Bitcoin's gravity pulling Phantom down, and Bitcoin has been improving, and we're noticing Phantom has been decreasing. In the comments section, if you know what is going on here or you have some indication, it would be really good to share it with the community. Sometimes things go out of alignment because of specific news for a specific crypto. This is what I call a gravitational override, but things snap back. Let's have a look at Algo. Algo is moving with Bitcoin's directional correlation. Really, really important stuff. Stellar is doing exactly the same thing. It's getting above a level of resistance here. That's looking quite good. And we can see Matic, not as strong as Stellar. Matic is a little bit weaker. You always want to go for strength in crypto because, just like Daniel said previously, everything gets magnified and mistakes get exponentially punished in this market. It's really, really important to understand that. You want clarity. Having a look at Stacks, we can see Stacks is much weaker in terms of directional movement than Bitcoin's fingerprint. And Cadena is not looking too bad. It's actually following Bitcoin's fingerprint to a T. Now, what does this actually mean? When I say it's following to a T, that means that as Bitcoin starts to rally up, these particular cryptos that are following Bitcoin's directional movement should move really, really strongly. That's why you want the strong ones. And you want the tight correlations, especially when the market is about to turn around. What about EGLD? Looking good, getting over levels of resistance. You can compare EGLD, for example, there's a resistance level, a resistance level, a resistance, and note resistance always turns to support at some stage or another. And when we look at this, you can look at various other ones and see Matic is below that particular resistance level where EGLD is above it. These are really important things, concepts to keep your mind on. Okay, let's have a look at Harmony. Harmony 1 is below, it's getting suppressed quite a lot actually. I just realized I doubled up on Matic. Here we go, let's pop Ethereum Classic in here. Look at that. Some Ethereum Classic people will be very happy. It's starting to move with the directional movement with Bitcoin and starting to show some strength. Why is that? It's getting above this resistance. That's a really good technical. But what do? Do we FOMO in? No way, we don't FOMO. What we do is that we buy at levels of support, and what we can see, there are a few of them. You don't have to buy at all these levels, but it's just explaining. Now, this is a level of resistance playing in around this point. What would we expect to happen here? We may get some downward push. The next level of resistance is around 31.28. That can give you some targeting information. Let's have a look at the major ones in the DeFi sector and see how they're playing out. It's really interesting to note Chainlink was moving in the opposite direction. You can see Chainlink came up as Bitcoin came down. But what always happens with gravity? Gravity cannot be withstood. When Bitcoin started to come down more, Chainlink was pulled down with it. Now it's realigning. It's really important to understand this dynamic. What about Aave? Aave is moving in directional correlation with Bitcoin. Maker is starting to take off, but what does this actually look like? We know that we've got a level of resistance at around this 22.59 mark. We've had a very big wave up. What does that mean? That we would expect a wave down. We would expect sellers at the 22.59 mark to try and push the price down and potentially do profit taking as well. But if it gets above there, where is the next level? It's 24.56. You can see just by drawing horizontal support and resistance levels, it's really, really valuable to do. Let's have a look at comp. Comp is moving in alignment with Bitcoin's gravitational pull, but just a little bit weaker. Where is the next level of, for example, target? It would be around the 192.70 mark, and it could be a little bit lower as well, around this 176.80 mark. When we look at AMP is starting to move. Where is the next resistance level? It's about 0.4152. And then when we look at Rune, where is the next resistance level? It's approximately at 5.916. Always have your three-way plan in play. Always know what you will do if price goes down, goes up, or goes sideways. Anything is possible in crypto. You need to have these three covered at all stages. This is zone 3 and zone 4 thinking. Looking at LRC, where's the next level of resistance? It's at 153.42 and a higher one at 205.61. We certainly do have a level of support at 74.52 and pretty much where we're at right now with price at 95.76. What about synthetics? Synthetics has done well. Look at that. It's actually got above this primary resistance level. Where's the next one? It's around here, 6.357 and then 7.166. What about if it starts to decay with price? We're looking at a support level around 4.899 and one lower at 4.315. Let's go across to the next one, which is financial services. The two biggest ones, of course, XRP and CRO. What do we see with XRP? We see it in alignment with Bitcoin's gravitational pull. As Bitcoin repairs, what we expect is for XRP to have a little bit of resistance around the 75.93 mark and then up to the 85.49 mark. There is support below at 59.47. Crypto.com is doing really, really well. Let's start with some support levels. We've got one at 40.22, another one 36.38. What about resistance? Resistance will play in at 46.086, and then we've got a higher level one just about there at 50.37. We always want to have the strategy for upside and downside price movement. Really, really important. When you look at Cello, it's very good because the next real resistance level is at 4,407 and we have support below at 3,052. Celsius Network, we're looking at resistance at 3,125, support level below at 2,2941 and also at 2,0841. Not bad. Looking at SXP, it's coming up to resistance at around the 149 mark, has support at the 1,260 mark. And just be aware that there's quite a lot of resistance from 149 to 1,698. Looking at RSR, REQ. REQ has got fairly good support at 2218 and will head into resistance at around 2854. VGX, we can see VGX has support at 1743 and resistance at 2510. UTK has support at 2202 and the next level of resistance 3220. Let's have a look at gaming. We have a lot of stuff in gaming, but we also want to just take a bit of a look at VR as well because Mana is quite a player. So let's have a look into those. Okay, let's start with Axie Infinity. When looking at Axie, the next predominant level of resistance is 7307 and we have a support level at 5010. Not looking too bad. Got a little bit of a gap in between those. That's always good. And we look at sand, resistance at 459.75. When we look here at support, there's a couple of support levels playing out. So we can see one at 354.88, one at 331.25, and one at 301.71. Let's have a look at Engine Coin. Engine Coin has resistance at 2245, has a level of support at 1752, another one at 162.4, and another one at 1510. Having a look at Gala. Gala has a level of resistance at 32,292 and a major level of support at 19,031. WaxP getting up into resistance and quite a lot of it at 4010 and has a primary support at 2969. ILV level of resistance 798.60, the major support level of 567.10. Looking at Decentraland, it's coming up into resistance at 292. What we're seeing, there's support, one support level at 261.72, another major support at 236.68, and as well at 217.71. Let's have a look at Yield Guild Games, YGG. We can see resistance at 4,511 and support underneath at 2,900 and also at 2,535. Let's have a little bit more of a look through gaming. There's so many gaming cryptos. MBOX. We can see MBOX coming up to resistance at 3,977, support below 2,585. SLP has been under severe stress and we can see that it's been moving down with Bitcoin, but this divergence is worrying. What it's basically saying, sellers are taking this thing down and they're being relentless about it. I would not touch SLP until it shows some form of repair. It's just not looking healthy. Looking at Alice, and of course with all of these cryptos, just ignore everybody's advice and recommendations and everything. Just make your own decision. That's really, really important. Let's have a look at Alice. Major level of resistance at 1077. It's interesting to see PYR. PYR has actually broken through a level of resistance. Now, what does this actually mean? When we saw PYR come up to this first level of resistance, it flirted around with it and rejected back to a level of support, then up and then back and through to the next level of resistance. This is why resistance levels are so important to understand. You really want to know. When looking at DAR, what we're seeing is a divergence between Bitcoin's fingerprint and the price action. This is something that you would want to avoid. And it's like looking at SLP. Some things you're better off not getting involved with until they actually get healthy. Cocos, what do we see happening here? We see a level of resistance. And what happened when price came down? It literally reached up to this level of resistance and it came down through a couple of levels of support. This is important to understand. When you understand support and resistance, it's really, really helpful. We can see CHR. The next level of resistance is 67.12. Next level of support, 51.11. Theta token, resistance at 4073, support at 2584. We did a bit of a thought experiment in yesterday's video on Decentraland. We saw that Decentraland was coming up and up and up, and what we said, let's look at these particular levels. For example, what will happen? Many people would expect when price is going up like this, they're certain it's just going to explode. What actually happened? We saw price come down and it filled that particular level. We could have done levels in between these if we wish, but it's really not that important. Trying to capture everything is a zone 1, zone 2 behavior. It's really important that you focus. Focusing is a zone 3, zone 4 behavior. But what we did actually see over these 4 8-hour periods, price actually did come down. Let's also continue on with Rose. In yesterday's episode, when we were looking at Rose, I said I'm going to move some buy levels up, and sometimes your buy levels don't get hit, but that's just part and parcel of the crypto market. And sometimes we can get these long tail rejections that come through and slurp up buy orders really, really well. So we never realistically worry about it. We can see that Rose is starting to come up, and we can see also that these once, for example, support levels actually flip over and become resistance levels. So just be aware of that. That means we don't panic, we don't light switch out or anything like that. If it hits one of these levels, you just have your targets in play. For example, you might say, okay, my target is around 60 cents. I'll be very happy with that. Or whatever makes sense to you, but you should be coming from a position of knowledge and analysis, not guessing. Yesterday, I increased the buy orders. I took buy orders from below and put them up. I put one here at this 31,325 and one at the 32,644 mark. That 32,644 was filled, but this lower one was not filled at 31,325. Now the question is, do I feel bad about that? Absolutely not. I don't mind at all. I don't worry about it, because we know that crypto is really, really spiky. Just look at these tails. There's a potential for downward price momentum, and that's what we always aim for. We just move in line with price moves in waves and buying at the best possible price we can. Please let me know in the comments section on YouTube if this new walk through the market actually helps you. I've tried to include as many tokens and cryptos as I possibly could from the members that reached out and let me know what they were holding. Of course, I can't cover all of them. It would be a 6-hour video, but hopefully I've covered enough that most people have. If you have other cryptos that you would like me to cover, please pop them in the comments section on YouTube. And one thing that I thought would be really great to discuss in the comments section is the concept of life promotes you. It's a really, really powerful understanding to have. When people do the right thing, life promotes them. People are simply the messenger. When people do the wrong thing, life demotes them. Again, people are simply the messenger. If you feel you're getting promoted, you're doing the right thing. If you feel you're getting demoted, something is amiss. Something is missing in real wealth. To get promoted, you just need to pick up more real wealth, and that automatically makes you worthy of all the best things, all the most beautiful things in life. I'd love to hear your thoughts on life promotes you. It's a really interesting, abstract comment. People are the messengers. It always comes down to us, and it always means because opportunities reset daily, we can be promoted daily. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. And thank you very much to our CTKS Ambassadors who have the highest honor in crypto technical analysis. They live and breathe integrity, decency, and kindness. And this honor is not a prize to be won, but it's a life to be lived. And our CTKS ambassadors do that. You might have noticed these CTKS ambassador positions do swap around, and I do that every day. If you like the free community video, when you look at the masterclass, which is a premium Rolls-Royce level masterclass on crypto technical analysis, there is without doubt 100 times more value inside the masterclass. You will absolutely know what you're doing, and that is very, very important because mistakes in the crypto market are unfortunately exponentially punished. You can see that there's a lot of content in here, and I would advise everybody that's doing the masterclass, just go lesson by lesson, because I create the foundation for the next lesson in the lesson that you just looked at. And the time release on these sections is really, really important too. It gives you time, go slow to go fast. And there's also a living masterclass segment where I constantly update. And the really nice thing with the CTKS ambassadors, these people, they can give you 80% off the masterclass. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the link to the masterclass. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.